Hello and a very warm welcome to this special edition of Rajya Sabha Television on the rollout of 5G services. I'm Kriti Mishra. India is the second largest telecom market in the world with a subscriber base of 1.2 billion. Expansion of digital footprint by rolling out 5G services tops the agenda of the government. 5G refers to the fifth generation cellular network technology to provide broadband access. And to get deeper insights on the convergence between technology and media, I'm joined by Director of IIT Kanpur, Mr. Abhay Karandikar. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, sir.
Thank you.
Let's break it down to the basics first. What is 5G and how is it different from 4G services?
So I think 5G first of all is a cellular mobile technology, and the cellular mobile technology has undergone several generation changes. The earlier generation technology, particularly the first generation, was mainly analog. The digital technology started from second generation, and the second and third generation were primarily focused on voice, and with the third generation we started getting data. But the pure data services with the internet services were launched in the 4G cellular mobile technology, where the wireless internet, mobile wireless internet became the predominant services. The 5G is basically a paradigm shift from that, and it is a paradigm shift in the sense that it not only will give you an enhanced experience of mobile broadband with a very high throughput, but it will also cater to two other important user services, namely what is called technically as ultra reliable low latency communications. That means the kind of services, let us say the telemedicine or a tele-operated surgery, which requires a very small response time. So that will become possible due to the 5G. And the third type of services is very large machine type communications. That means essentially the Internet of Things, where all the machines and all the devices will become interconnected. So in that sense, the 5G is a paradigm shift in the sense that it provides a unique and integrated communications platform for the all-pervasive digital connectivity, where not only the humans can talk to each other and also use the internet data, but all other devices, be it your electric meters or even a consumer appliance at your home or your car, will get connected with each other. And in that sense, we are now transitioning to an era where in true sense we will be living in a digitally connected world where billions of devices and billions of human beings are connected with each other.
Right, sir. And it is also said that consumer is the king. So most importantly, how would the switch to 5G benefit the consumers in India?
So as far as the India is concerned, unlike in the Western world where the broadband was all pervasive through the wired connectivity in various forms, either through the cable or fiber to the home kind of connectivity. In India, for the Indian consumers, cell phone maybe was perhaps the first phone that they use. We did not have so much penetration of the plain old telephones, the wired telephones. And in the same way, while it became the primary phone for most consumers, it is also becoming the primary device for accessing the internet connectivity. So because very few homes in India would have the direct fiber to home kind of connectivity, and in that sense the cell phones are becoming the primary means or the primary device for connecting the internet connectivity. Now, since it becomes the primary device for internet connectivity, obviously for the user or the consumer to get a very good broadband experience is possible only if a technology enables it on the mobile phones and not really through the wired or the static home connectivity. In that sense, with the 5G's enhanced mobile broadband experience, I believe that the users will get a very high throughput on the mobile phones, and as a result, the Indian consumers will get a true broadband experience which they are really looking forward to. In the sense that 4G did give the consumer the experience of mobile broadband, but still it has not provided them that satisfaction which perhaps the users of the other part of the world are enjoying through fiber connectivity to the home, and then you have a Wi-Fi router at home, because we don't have all pervasive fiber to the home connectivity. So in that sense, 5G will enable that enhanced mobile broadband experience. So that is one transitions that we will be experiencing. The other thing is that the 5G will also be very helpful in other areas, let us say the smart city experience, where we are having, let's say, citywide surveillance, video surveillance network, or a citywide smart metering, etc. So Indian consumers are likely to get benefited in the application of 5G to those areas as well.
Also, sir, the power of 5G is poised to revolutionize the media and entertainment space. How will it transform this space in India?
So it will transform the space in two ways. One way is that increasingly, as you have seen, that the era of terrestrial broadcasting and large TV sets are sort of becoming, in some sense obsolete. People are now want to watch the entertainment on their either on their cell phones or on their tablets while they are on the go. Yesterday, for example, I saw that when I was at the airport, almost large number of people were watching the live cricket match on their cell phones. So people are likely to watch more and more entertainment on their cell phones, on the small screens, on the tablet. But obviously, one of the bottlenecks today has been the speed at which, the throughput which they get on the cell phones through 4G connectivity, and therefore they are not getting that satisfying experience which they should be getting. With the 5G coming in, users will start getting a kind of experience as if they are watching it on the television, and therefore the shift of the media and services will happen on the small screens. The shift has happened from the cinema to the television, and now the shift will even happen to the smaller screens, where the people will start getting that experiences, the entertainment experiences on their mobile phones or on their tablet. And with the kind of throughputs that the 5G is expected to offer, the consumers will start getting a very fulfilling and satisfying experience of the entertainment even on their smartphones.
There's a report that 5G will actually drive $1.3 trillion in the media and entertainment realm. How can the Indian industry reap that benefit?
So as you know that the Indian industry, in fact, it has been observed that one of the important applications for the broadband, or one of the most consuming experience for the broadband, the data consumption, is for the entertainment. If you provide higher throughput pipes, most Indians would like to see the television serials or the movies. And since the Indian mass populace is really entertainment friendly, but have not been able to get that experience, primarily because the technologies have not enabled that. And I believe that the entertainment industry is going to get benefited, because once the proliferation of the entertainment happens through the phones, and given the fact that already we have a very, very high tele-density through the proliferation of the cellular mobile technology, once a very fulfilling experience of entertainment starts happening on the phones, I'm sure the uptake will increase in an exponential way. And that is where I feel that the convergence of the broadcast and broadband will also become important, in terms of broadcast also becoming available in a form of direct to mobile experience, because the users in all probability are now likely to use their phones as the primary device for accessing, be it the internet, be it the entertainment, be it the educational contents, etc.
But the fact remains, sir, that even to reap these rich dividends of this disruptive technology, there has to be seamless transition to 5G. What is the roadmap for this seamless transition for the industry particularly?
Yes, so I think it is true that Indian industry has made some investments, a lot of investments in the 4G, either in the form of spectrum or in the rolling out of the networks. So obviously the transition will happen slowly. It won't happen overnight because the industry and the operators would like to first reap the benefits out of the 4G deployments that they have done. And also protect their investment for the future. So I see that it will happen, perhaps in a phased manner. But we are likely to see the 5G trials in the very near futures. Yes. In fact, I was chairing a spectrum committee which has given the reports and which has been accepted by the Digital Communications Commissions on giving the spectrum for the trials. And I believe that the trial licenses will be soon given out. So first thing I think that will happen in the coming months is that the operators and the industry will get engaged in setting up the test beds and doing the trials and seeing the applications areas where the 5G will reap the most benefit. And I see that its deployment will happen mostly for enhanced mobile broadband. So that is the first applications that is likely to come. So that the consumers get an experience of enhanced mobile broadband for, let us say, accessing the entertainment or a good experience of internet. And then the other applications will follow. Maybe it's autonomous cars or smart city, or that may take even several years at least in the Indian context to follow. But mobile broadband, as a mobile broadband technology, I'm sure we will start seeing the early deployments by next year, and maybe in the next 2-3 years we will see a large scale deployment. And it is likely to become popular in India because, as I already said, that since phone is going to be the primary device for accessing the broadband, once the user starts seeing a very good performance of internet access, its uptake and acceptability will increase.
How will 5G change new media, particularly augmented reality and virtual reality?
So as I said that apart from enhanced mobile broadband, 5G has important things like what is called as ultra reliable low latency communications. Many of these applications like augmented reality or virtual reality requires a very, very fast response time of sub-milliseconds, which can be which cannot be perceived by the human beings. The current technology like 3G and 4G are nowhere near close to that. With the 5G, we expect that once the response times becomes extremely small, then the applications like augmented reality and virtual reality will become possible. And since VR and AR give a whole new immersive experience in the media, that will enable applications which were hitherto not possible on the smartphones or while on the go kind of scenarios.
And also talking about social media, what kind of impact do you foresee of the 5G services on the social media space?
So first of all, I think it is very difficult to predict that what innovative forms of internet applications will take place in the foreseeable futures. No one had predicted maybe 20 years back when the mobile phones had come that we will have Facebook or a WhatsApp or LinkedIn or these kinds of social media applications on your phones. So really the sky is the limit of innovations. And once the technologies offers you the possibilities of very high bandwidth, very high throughputs, very, very low latencies, and also the possibility of connecting every device, be it your watch or the electric meters, etc. You don't know what kind of future generations applications and services will take place which could disrupt the way in which we live every day. In fact, I see with the 5G technology and of course 5G and beyond technologies, in fact the way in which we will live in this all pervasive digitally connected world is going to get transformed completely.
5G is also expected to be a catalyst of growth for the advertising industry. How would 5G change the digital advertising space?
I think the one very important change which 5G is likely to change the advertising industry is the fact that because of the all pervasive digital connectivity, it would be possible to sort of have the form of advertising which is very different from the traditional advertising, where the advertising agencies really tie up with the production houses and then advertise. It may be possible to sort of get the advertising even uploaded by the common entrepreneur or the common people who do not have an access to a organized advertising sectors. So I could see that a disruption in the advertising sectors taking place, where some kind of democratization of the advertising space will happen, where even the local entrepreneurs and the local people will be able to advertise their products and services in a much more decentralized and democratized way. And the reason is that right now, again, these either it is a broadcasting, let's say the television broadcasting or the internet access is primarily used as a download only mechanism. And the reason is that typically, the download speeds are faster, but the uploads are smaller. Although that changed with people uploading their photographs, etc., and their web pages, or either on the social media site like Facebooks, etc. But still, that kind of symmetric traffic, that the upload traffic is the same as the download traffic, is still missing. And with the next generation wireless technologies like 5G, it is likely that upload and download traffic will become symmetric. And that I call as the true democratization, in the sense that not only the content providers are pushing the contents down, even the local people are also pushing their contents up. And that really disrupts the content creation space as well as the advertising space.
You've also signed an MOU with Prasar Bharati. Tell us more about that collaboration.
I think this is the beginning. The signing of this MOU is the beginning of our future research collaborations that we are likely to view with Prasar Bharati. And as now seen that since a disruption in the technologies is happening, even the space of broadcasting is undergoing a significant change. Instead of the traditional terrestrial broadcasting where people watch the television through the antenna, that has already undergone a change through the cable TV and dish antennas. And that is further going a change with the technologies such as direct to mobile. People are likely to view the television also on their cell phones.
Yes.
And if the next generation chipsets enables broadcasting also on their cell phones, then obviously that is likely to get more uptake. And this collaborations, we are going to work on such technologies like convergence of next generation broadcast and broadband. Then the other technologies, either in the form of data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learnings, which could be useful in the advertising space, in the content space also we will be working on. The capacity building, manpower training is another area. And finally, the fourth area is the incubation activities, where the problems that are given by the broadcasters and the Prasar Bharati in particular, the IIT faculty, staff and students work on those problems. And if some IPRs are generated and some commercializable technologies are generated, then that can be incubated and we develop a homegrown product companies here. So this is really the beginning of, we envisage this is beginning of developing an Indian ecosystem. As you know, the contents are here and the contents needs to be locally relevant and generated. The broadcaster is also an Indian. So obviously, therefore, the missing link is the technologies which take the contents and through the broadcasters to the common public. And that gap can be filled if we develop an ecosystem of product development and technology standardizations and also then enabling ecosystem in terms of policy and regulations. So we view this partnership as a step in that direction.
But security is the biggest concern, as in case of any other disruptive technology. How can the government develop a robust mechanism to fortify the 5G ecosystem?
So I think one of the important things for the security is that you have the indigenous technology and you have control over the IPRs. Okay. Obviously, of course, no technology is fully secure. So we need to. So there are mechanisms to address those systems in the form of making your applications more secure, making secure crypto systems, etc. But the bottom line is that we can have if you have a full control over the technology and the IPRs, then obviously we have a much better secure systems. Now in this context, some efforts have been initiated. The Government of India launched a pan IIT wide 5G testbed development project, and the objective of this project is to develop the components of the 5G indigenously, where we develop IPRs, where we take these IPRs into the international standards, and at least develop some components, if not all the components, at least some components are developed indigenously by Indian companies. Then obviously that not only solves the problem of security, but also have a bigger control in terms of IPRs and licensing, because increasingly as we are seeing that intellectual property rights and are becoming the negotiating points even in the World Trade Organizations and having a trade pacts. And it is very, very important that we do not just become the consumers of the products, but actually become the owners of the IPR.
Absolutely. So it's important to become the owners of the IPRs. That's a very important point you're making. Lastly, sir, India traditionally has been considered a late adopter of technology, but the 5G wave is engulfing us sooner than we could have ever imagined.
Yes. So I think we were definitely the late adopters in the earlier generations, but now in the form of 5G we will be adopting the technology almost at the same time as the rest of the world is. And the more important thing is that in the 5G we may have some and 5G and beyond, we may also have for the first time some indigenizations and some indigenous developments. And in this context, I think one important aspect of the 5G technology is that increasingly the intelligence in the network or in the technology is now residing in the software. So as they call softwareization of the networks, and hardwares are becoming more and more off the shelf and commoditized. Now in this paradigm shift which is happening, which is beginning to see from the 5G, we have an opportunity to play, because if you have to develop a very specific hardware, then obviously we were lagging behind the technology. But since India traditionally has been a powerhouse of software, if all the intelligence lies in the software, then there is a lot more opportunity for us to leapfrog in terms of technology development and come at par with the rest of the world.
So the rollout of 5G services would further propel India's economic growth.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for talking to Rajya Sabha Television.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks.